All right, let's set up some text, turn it into a link, and style the different states of the link. The text is just going to be HTML text. I'll put it in an H1 tag so that it's larger than normal. And I'll wrap this H1 element in an A tag so that we can turn it into a link. The A tag needs an href, which will indicate the destination URL, where this link will go. Let's think here. How about IMDb? Okay, so now that we have our A tag with an href, the text is now appearing to be blue and underlined. This is the default state for a text link, but you'll see there are other possible states. One state is when the cursor is touching the link. You see the cursor changes from an arrow pointer to a finger pointer. That indicates a hover state. There's some other states as well. Here is this blue indicates a link that is formatted and it's not visited yet. If I click this and load this website, IMDb, and I go back, this link has changed color from blue to purple. Purple indicates another state of a text link, and that is the state of a link that has already been visited. And if you watch closely when I click this, did you see how it turned red? That moment where I click the link, that is another state. That state is the active state. So at this moment, the link is active. So those are four very important states that we can style to appear differently. And here's how we're going to do this. Normally, if we want to set a color, very quickly, we can use the style attribute and do something like this. Style color is pink, and then the text becomes pink. And this is fine for most cases and for most scenarios where we're trying to mock up our code, mock up our design quickly with code. But this approach does not allow us the ability to go invoke those different states, the four states of this link. It's this mode here with the style attribute, it's too simple. It's not robust enough. So what we need to do, instead of writing CSS in the HTML tag, and that's called inline CSS, we need to write it in a style sheet, a CSS style sheet, where we can do more complex things with our styling definitions. This panel here is CodePen's CSS style sheet. So it's different from this box here. This box here is the HTML panel, and this is the CSS panel. All the code panels in CodePen you can resize simply by placing your mouse over the frame line and then dragging the frame line to wherever you want it. So here in my CSS panel, I have a style sheet. I can write CSS code and have the CSS definitions here in this panel influence whatever's happening here in the HTML panel. So again, what this means is that when I'm in the HTML panel, I'm writing HTML, and when I'm in the CSS panel, I'm writing CSS. So let's write some CSS. The equivalent of this style is color pink on the A tag. The equivalent would be this. On the A tag, curly brackets. Color is pink. Okay, so that's CSS. It's a different way of declaring the same styling definition. You'll see in this case I'm using a tag, and then after the tag I have these curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets I have my CSS properties. Now the reason why this is a more rich and complex environment is I can do something like this. I can now define the 4 states of the link, and they are the following: the link itself, the visited state, the hover state, and the active state. So the A tag is actually a very special tag. It has these 4 states. Not every tag has these 4 states. But now I have a way to declare colors for all 4 states. So let's say, let me change this URL so I have a fresh URL. Some website we have not been to. Let's see, how can I remember a website I have not been to? How about okay. Let's look at CSS code in action. I have written out the format for defining the display states for all 4 states of the A tag. And there's no information inside these curly brackets on any 4 of them. So that means there's no customized information, and the link appears to be normal, default. Now I can go add color information to these 4 states. Let's say I want the link color to be red. And if it's visited, I want it to be blue. And if I'm hovering over it, I want it to be green. And if I'm clicking it, I want it to be orange. If I wanted those colors, this is how I would set up my CSS. And this is the essential code that you need to know for styling the 4 states of an HTML link. So if we check it out, now that I have these 4 colors, if I hover, it turns green. If I click, it turns orange. And if I return, it recolors as blue. Okay, so that's how to style the 4 states of an HTML link. We're doing colors here, but we can actually add even more than that. Let's say on the hover, I want to make the text a little bit bigger. I can add font size and make it a little bit bigger so that when I hover, the text actually gets a little bit bigger. And that's the great thing about CSS, is we can have any number of descriptions grouped together, and they will present at the same time.